Hi, my name is Steven Stepchinsky. I lead Bloomberg's energy coverage here in Asia. I'm really excited to be moderating this panel today on the revival of nuclear energy, not just in India, but around the world. Just going to give you some interesting numbers that I found recently. The global nuclear power capacity could more than double to 860 gigawatts by 2050, pumping nearly 2.2 trillion, with a T, into the value chain, according to Morgan Stanley. A large share of those additions could come from India, should it reach its goal of having 100 gigawatts of nuclear power capacity by 2047, when it aims to reach energy self-reliance. Now, this panel has quite a few experts. Let me quickly introduce them. To my left is Yegor Kwiatkowski, the Director General of Rosatom International Network. It's embarrassing that I can't say last name given my last name, but thank you very much for joining us today. Also is Sama Bilboye-Leon, the Director General for the World Nuclear Association. And to her left is Niraj Agrawal, the President of Nuclear Power at JSW Energy. Let's just get right to it. Thank you again for joining me today. Sama, let's start with you. Could you please sort of set the stage and give us your view on the state of nuclear power in India and what we should expect going forward?
Okay, well, thank you, Stephen. And I think it's very exciting to be in India at India Energy Week at a very historical moment in India. As you know, maybe it's been a month or so since the Shanti Bill was passed in India, which actually is a watershed moment for nuclear opportunities in India. So we are going to see the opportunity to have private players, international players in the market in India. So this is going, and of course this comes in the tails of the great ambition that, as you all know, India has for nuclear. The goal is to have all the way from the 8 gigawatts that we have more or less today to 100 by 2047. So the ambition of India is enormous. But let me put these numbers in perspective, because our numbers, Stephen, are a little bit different than yours. So just last week, during Davos, we actually launched the World Nuclear Outlook report that provides a status update of where nuclear growth is expected at a global level. So our numbers, taking into account, number one, the extension of the existing nuclear fleet, that most of the existing reactors are going to go to 60, many of them to 80 years. Essentially, the majority of the fleet that we have today, over 400 gigawatts of energy, of capacity, will continue to be operating in 2050. But on top of that, in addition to the 70 reactors that are currently under construction, all the ones that are planned, proposed, and then taking into account the goals that over 50 countries all over the world have for new nuclear, we are already adding all the way to it's more than 1,400 gigawatts of total nuclear capacity by 2050. So this is more than triple the existing capacity that we have right now. And this is not going to be linear. There's going to be a little bit of a initial slower growth, and then it's going to go a little bit faster. And yes, definitely India is going to be one of the countries where this growth is going to be enormous, because if we are saying triple nuclear at a global level, but in India we are looking 10 times the existing capacity, right? So the ambition is even bigger. So that's a little bit the picture. And maybe just to close, to give everybody a little bit of a perspective. So you were talking about the revival of nuclear. I would say that nuclear has never left. Nuclear has always been here. As you know, nuclear energy is and has been for more than 5 decades 10% of more of the global electricity production. And of course, in this point in history where we have complex geopolitical situation, every country in the world is looking at energy security, energy independence, and nuclear energy, of course, plays a very important role. And then, of course, the other two areas is, yes, sustainability. If we are trying to meet Paris Agreement goals and sustainability goals in a timely, cost-effective, and equitable manner, nuclear energy, once again, is something that many countries are looking into. And last, but certainly not least, is competitiveness, socioeconomic development, prosperity, quality of life. That requires abundant, affordable, 24/7 clean energy, and this is where many countries are looking at nuclear once again.
What a great overview. Thank you for that. And it's a good segue also. You mentioned India, 10-fold increase over the next few decades. I want to go to you, Niraj, just to get your view. Why do you think it's essential for India to accelerate to such a degree for nuclear power?
Yeah, actually, if you are aware, today India is a developing country. And our goal is to become a developed country by 2047. Once you want to go to developed country, our per capita power consumption, which is around 1500 kilowatt hour, it has to become minimum 4000 to 4500 kilowatt hours. So we need a lot of power. Now we have another goal. We want to become carbon free by 2070. So we have to only go to non-fossil fuels. And in non-fossil fuel, what we are looking for a clean power, available 24/7, base load operation, and a competitive price. So nuclear fits the bill. Other than nuclear, this wind and solar, today they are intermittent. Maybe along with battery storage, they may become like this. So along with nuclear, these things together, not against, together we can work together. So if we have to become developed, if we have to become carbon neutral, nuclear is, I think, only option which is there with us. And technologically, we have proven in India that we are capable of making power plants. We have the technology, but we are going a bit slow. Now with the Shanti Bill introduction and private sector participation, private sector's management skills will come, their funds will come. So definitely we can accelerate and we can have the nuclear power.
I'm going to ask you more on that in a minute, but let's quickly go to Yegor here to just talk about, partnerships, right?
Yeah.
Strategic partnerships, especially in nuclear energy, from what I've seen, at least across this region, has been really key to building things forward, with the Shanti Bill changing, of course. But based on Rosatom's global portfolio of projects, your ongoing Kudankuram project in India, what key principles should guide these partnerships as they try to come into this country?
Thank you so much for this question. The partnership and cooperation between Russia and India and Rosatom in India started many years before this day, and India is now one of our major strategic partner. And our cooperation, of course, it's not only in case on Kudankulam. In early 2001, Rosatom and Russia Federation, in case of embargo, in time of embargo, nuclear embargo, help India and deliver two parts of fuel pellets to India. It was very important for both countries, and then we try to divide and to develop our partnership and our cooperation based on Kudankulam experience, based on our global portfolio. We formulate some basic principles for us and for our partners, and these principles help us to promote and development nuclear infrastructure, not only power plant, but infrastructure in general in our partners' countries. Like a first principle, and from my side, I think it's one of the most try to shift from so-called one-off project to a fleet mode. So it's as a principle of typicalization of nuclear power plants and nuclear units. It's help you like a vendor, it's help your partner like a country to unify all the process, all the supply chain, all the producers and type of equipment that you use, and of course try to reduce the cost of capital cost, operational cost, and in the final stage to try to lower the energy price for consumers. It's very important and for us and for our partners as well. And of course, using unified design like VVR 1000 or VVR 1200, it's more important try to use the typical one units, typical one projects, one by one. Of course, we try to organize infrastructure synergy. I mean, we try to use local producer, local consumer, local industry, and involve them in our chain. Of course, there are two goals. The first one, like for us, for vendor, we try to reduce the costs. And for country, we are interested that not only Rosatom, for example, or someone else will be interested in this project. We are more than welcome when country and any kind of companies will be interested in cooperation and construction of nuclear power plant. Of course, the second principle is integrated lifetime life cycle solution. So we're not only about how to build nuclear power plant. Of course, the timeline of using power plants is 60 till 80 and not more years. And all these times we're in country, we support our partners in human resources and learning and training. We support with fuel supply, of course, service, and so on and so forth. So when we come to country, we not just build a station, we organize just a sector of economy, of energy, of course, involving all interested of this cooperation, and we are interested in common and overall partnership with this country for all this century. As we discussed with you and with some before, it's not about the political issue, it's for people, for humanity, for century, for our children and so on. The third principle, we take it a little bit, it's about localization. Now we try to localize as much as possible. And when I speak about India, we are more than welcome the program Make in India, because it supports us, it supports local producers, and it's win-win situation for all of us. The main issue to find their more efficient way how to localize, where to localize, and what kind of system and equipment. When we build Kudankulam from 1 to 6 units, we step by step go to these stages of localization from something very simple to something very advanced and technology useful. So now we are more than open. And for us, the Shanti Bill, it's not only about the private company who will operate, for example, or own. For us, it's also opportunity to involve private company in sphere of localization, because we think that Shanti Bill will support them as well. So we are absolutely more than welcome. And the fourth principle is about the, we call it multi-technology. So in our portfolio, we have VVR, like big-sized reactor that can provide the base load for energy system. But more than all, we have SMR, landed or floated. So the VVR, it's like the solution when you need to solve the situation with lack of energy in big size, and when you have some kind of remote territory or some islands, the best way, of course, is SMR loaded, base load, or land base or floated. So our understanding that with our partner we need to discuss all the portfolio and try to find the best solution, like for base load, like for geography and territory location. So it's a principle that we need to correlate with geographical and political and demographical issues in each country as well.
And the Shanti Bill, essentially that opens the door for all of that, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are more than appreciated. So we are more than welcome. I think not only we like Rosatom, I think my colleagues as well. We are more than welcome big private companies from Indian side. Hopefully, next big conference, not only us will be on this stage. We are more than welcome the private sector of Indian nuclear industry and machinery.
Sure, and they come and are open up talks to buy reactors now that the Shanti Bill makes that possible. That would be a huge opportunity for Rosatom.
You're absolutely right.
I mean, from our point of view, I mean, as you know, World Nuclear Association has been working in India for many years. This actually is our 25th anniversary, so we are very excited.
Congratulations.
Yes. So we've been following always what is happening in India. But as you said, and Diego and Naresh mentioned, this Shanti Bill, it is a great opportunity to bring the world the global nuclear industry into India, but also for the nuclear industry in India to join the rest of the world. I mean, as you know, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, there is this enormous opportunity for nuclear energy at a global level. This is going to require, quite a bit of rebuilding of the industrial capabilities, rebuilding supply chains, workforce, etc. And clearly, there is plenty of very fantastic know-how and capabilities in India that will also be, it's a great opportunity for them to join the global nuclear industry.
And that's a great segue to go to Neeraj for a moment. Could you describe in some way the roadmap for JSW for nuclear? And India wants to build 100 gigawatts of capacity, or wants to have that much capacity online by 2047. What role will JSW play in that?
Actually, government mandate is that we should be having 100 gigawatt by nuclear. Out of this 100 gigawatt, 50 gigawatt NPCL is planning to build. Another 30 gigawatt NTPC is planning to build.
Sure.
So 20 gigawatt as a minimum is up for grabs for the private sector. And we at JSW Energy, we also have a lot of captive requirements. Like our steel plant, Vijayanagar, our captive requirement is 1.4 gigawatt itself, single plant. Plus, we also sell power commercially.
Right.
So we are looking at different technologies. One of them is PSWR. We are actively studying and analyzing 700 megawatt PSWR plant, because for that plant, ecosystem exists in India. We have the vendors who are ready, engineering is ready, regulator is ready.
Right.
So we are generally ready for that. Along with that, we are also looking at different possible technologies which we can get from abroad. If those technologies are able to provide us economies of scale and give us a power at a competitive price so that we are able to commercially sell the power, then we are open to that. We are talking to different vendors. It is not right for me to say their names.
So we
have a big plan actually, big plan. But maybe our construction will start after 3 to 4 years, because getting the land, getting a lot of approvals is taking a lot of time. We are eagerly and very vigorously following up the nuclear roadmap.
Sorry, the journalist in me is dying to ask a few follow-up questions, so apologies. But I'm just curious. So it sounds like these 20 gigawatts up for grabs. Is that separate from the captive, or is the captive part of those 20 gigawatts as well?
Government says minimum you make 20 gigawatt. You can make as much as you want.
And when you're talking captive, that means that we could see some steel plants, nuclear-powered steel plants in India.
Because we have to have a green steel.
Yeah.
We have to export my steel to European countries. So I have to have a green steel.
Right.
So that was a primary goal which we started at JSW.
Right.
But finally now we are opening up for commercial availability of power to the market.
And when you're talking about these reactors from abroad, this technology, are we talking, large, 700, 1,200 megawatt?
We are looking at two technologies. One is 1,000 megawatt and above, like 1,200 or 1,400. We are talking about that. Plus we are also looking at SMRs, because some of our plants are located remotely.
Right.
And our requirement is 200, 250, 300 megawatt. So their SMR will fit into that. So when we are talking at JSW, we have a complex vision or a very clear vision from our point of view.
Yeah.
We want to go for PSWR, definitely, some imported reactor and SMR. So mix of that only will make us achieve our goal.
That's really interesting. I'm excited to hear more about it as the years progress. Yegor, I just grilled him on his vision for India. Could I ask you to describe what your vision is for Rosatom's vision for India as well, as a nice little segue right there? Wait.
Yeah, great. You know, I think that the best position that I heard for today, the following, the previous, I mean, why that's the best, and one it's correlated with our understanding of vision, how it can be in India. Very ambitious goals from India and to us as well. And from our side, it's not the question how to take as much as possible in India. Our position try to organize, and not just our like Rosatom, I mean some as well in cooperation in all vendors this. We need to find the best way, like a global vendor community, how to meet this requirement and these goals of India for today, which kind of technology, which kind of reactors, how many, I don't know, Russian, French, USA, it does not matter. We need to find the best mix of technologies. We like Rosatom, we are also try to have a mixed approach in Russia and in other partners countries. So we're not about to try too much as possible pie as we can. It's not the way, absolutely. The cooperation should be, and we also discussed with you previously that now it's not the century of one type, one technology, instead of, I don't know, something like consortium. We are more than welcome about something cooperative with some kind of European, Chinese, I don't know, other technologies and part of equipment. So it's century of cooperation, absolutely, because no one company and no one country who can realize and who can meet the goals that now India see for them. And we like cooperation. We are more than welcome to cooperate with India in governmental sector, private sector, in case of big, small, land-based, floating, and so on and so far. For us, India, it is a strategic partner in case of nuclear, in case of near-nuclear technology, something like nuclear medicine, sterilization, or decontamination, and depends. And we try to develop our cooperation around the nuclear about some production technologies like 3D printing, like energy safe solution, for example. It's more than important when you try to build the great energy system like 10 or more gigawatt. So it's time to common multi-cooperation.
That's I mean, it really sounds like it's a marriage in a way. When you kind of set this up, you can't
Right.
just, you have to make sure the relationship works if you want to sell them a reactor, SMR, or something like that.
As we speak before, when you realize some project like Kudankulam, both parties, both sides understand that they are together for the century. It's more than marriage.
More than marriage.
More than
That's really
most
intense.
marriages,
Well,
yeah.
On that ominous note, Sama, I want to just quickly jump to you. You know, we talked about, I think everyone on this panel has said very positive things about the Shanti bill. I'm going to turn things very negative now. Are there things that could be done? What more could be done on the policy side? Are there still hurdles that exist? Are there still things that you would suggest to the Indian government to look at or to revise?
Well, I think that the Indian government has given a first hugely enormous step that is very positive. As I say, I mean, for a very long time, the Atomic Energy Act and the liability laws in India were a very big hurdle for other players. So this Shanti law is a very, very big positive signal to all kinds of private players in India and abroad to come to India. But you are right. I mean, the trick now is how this is going to be implemented, right? So the details are going to be very important. And of course, there is additional things that can be done to incentivize private investment. And when I say private investment, there is several pieces, right? Yes, it is the financial mechanisms that are going to be used to actually invest, to fund these nuclear power plants. But also, it is the revenue mechanisms. So things like Are the markets, the electricity markets, going to be realigned in order to recognize the value that nuclear energy brings to electricity grids, for example? Or are there going to be recognition of the sustainability of nuclear energy in the context of sustainable finance, green bonds, so there are steps that could be done in that way. Or are there going to be other advantages that exist for other carbon-free technologies, like production tax credits or similar things. So, certainly there are many things that the government could do in order to align. Again, so having the bill is very important.
Yeah.
The act is very important. Now the implementation, the industrial strategy that is going to help to implement it is essential. And as I said, the financial aspects are important. But then also there are other things that I think are very important, and perhaps we will hear some more about this. For example, reinforcing the industrial infrastructure. Supply chains. India does have a very good supply chain, but clearly it needs to be strengthened and needs to grow. So it's incentivizing elements of the energy supply chain that perhaps have never really played in the nuclear industry to actually understand what would it take for them to play in nuclear. Or workforce is another very important thing. Obviously, to me, this is an industrial strategy because it's not just nuclear engineers or nuclear professionals. We are talking the entire ecosystem of energy professionals. We are talking, yes, nuclear engineers like me, but also electrical engineers and mechanical engineers and civil engineers and pipe fitters and welders and project managers and lawyers. And there is an entire ecosystem of energy professionals that are going to really need to bring into this ecosystem. And of course, that does require some, I would say, centralized or coordinated effort at a not only a national level, perhaps regional level, because as you know, there are other countries in the region that are also looking at nuclear energy. So again, to me, the Indian government is going in a fabulous direction, but of course, there is always more than can be done. At the same time, I would say it's not just the government, the nuclear industry, as Yegor is saying, as Niraj is saying, we also need to put we need to start getting ready, investing in ourselves, putting in place what is necessary for when all these implementation rules are out there and done, we are all ready to go.
Well said. It really sounds like there needs to be a follow-through, right?
Exactly.
You've hit the ball. Now, that also gives me a really good segue to go to Niraj. When we're talking about international community, how can they help achieve the ambitions in India? And more specifically, because I'm from Bloomberg, how important is private capital to boosting the nuclear acceleration here?
Actually, we have to have a lot of collaboration with the international community.
Sure.
First of all, we are looking for a technical collaboration. We are not looking for a technology transfer. We are looking for a technological collaboration. The idea is that nuclear is a plant, once you build, you cannot shut it down. Means you have to operate for a period of time. Then after that, we have to continue to remove the decay heat. So what we want is that we should be partnered along with our international community, and we should become one of the player who will jointly develop, let us say, Generation 3+, Generation 4, and SMR technologies, so that we understand that technology and we are able to manage that in a very efficient way. Second thing which we want from international players is that regulatory interface should be more enhanced. Because sometimes we found, like in NPCL, when we were using the digital systems, our codes were not up to date. So a lot of resistance were coming and it was causing delays. Then definitely, as you said, finance is must. We want to become a part of the green taxonomy. We want to have the funds for a longer duration, 20, 25 years, at a very reasonable price. Because finally, nuclear, if it has to succeed, two things is must. we should bring down the per unit cost, and we should bring the plant in time. So for bringing the plant in time, lot of management expertise we can help take from the foreign collaborations. At the same time, we want our industry to be integrated with the world supply chain. Today, what we found that when these big companies are coming, they are saying, okay, we want to localize some product, and you can make for the Indian industry. We want it to go beyond that. We want to say, okay, we'll give you expertise, and using that expertise, you can become our local supplier for the world, actually. Because once we benchmark ourselves with the established good players, definitely our efficiencies can improve, our productivities will improve, our quality will improve. So we are looking at a different paradigm shift. We're not looking as a country which wants some technology. We want technological collaboration, help us in understanding the technology, and integrate our industry with the world industry. Then wherever shortage of skill is there, you help us in building the human capital. So all these things put together may be useful for the, I think, for the world as a whole, because ours is a low-cost economy. What we produce at a higher price, we can definitely give at a lower price. So it will not only help India, it will also help the other countries in reducing their cost.
May I add some tips?
Yes.
Because and some and Niraj speak about these challenges for India, but from my side, I think one of the most important challenge for us as well in India and Russia, and WNA and Rosatom, it doesn't matter. It's human aspect.
Sure.
Because now we have goals, we have companies, technology, and so on and so far. But we know when you plan, not just build, just plan, nuclear power plants and nuclear industry, you need 2 or 3 years before to start preparing the personnel for it. I mean, the operational personnel, the guys who will build it, it's not just common people, it's very high professional guys who need not just studying something in the university. In the best way, they need to have 1 or 2 years in like operational and maintenance and equipment service experience. So we need to be experienced. I say it about personnel because I think we need to start prepare it now, because international vendors, private company, governmental company in India were still cooking something regarding these goals, these numbers and gigawatt, but who are responsible for personnel now? In this case. Maybe you know in Russia we also have something like the same goals in India to twice our energy system, to twice our nuclear power plant fleet. And now one of the big challenges for us and where to find and to prepare the people for this global program. I mean, it's the same, like in Russia and India, the problem can be same and the solution can be same. And today, India, it is focal point in case of human force, not only for India as well. I mean, India can be a point when this personnel can be prepared for all around the world. So India can be.
Yeah. I mean, that matches what India
yes.
cannot just be localizing;
Absolutely.
they can be expanding abroad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But I'm curious. I lived in Japan. I was covering the nuclear sector in Japan immediately after the Fukushima disaster, and there you saw a decrease in the amount of graduates who were interested in getting into nuclear power. Has that been an issue for Rosatom, for Russia? Or has it not? Has nuclear always been something that's popular, and has it accelerated over the last several years?
That's a great question, because I was born in 20 kilometers near the power station, and main part of Russia located by a power station, and they were built before our births. I mean, it's not the question for Russian people about the public acceptance of nuclear. It's in our culture code. It's normal for us, absolutely. When I went some nuclear city near in the middle of Russia, it's called Voronezh and Novovoronezh power plants. They have a pond near the station, and they fishing there It's normal. No,
No,
it's
no, no, no.
normal.
I think that's
It's
great.
normal.
That's
Absolutely.
great. I mean, I think that's
great.
I think that's very interesting. Because the way that nuclear power plants are designed today, the water that is released is no dirtier than the water that's in a reservoir.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And when we have cooperation with some kind of our partners, of course, we invite them in Russia, in any type of nuclear power plants and cities as well around, and not only Russia, in Belarus, in Hungary, and other. And our partners see by their eyes that it's absolutely normal to work on the station, to live near the station, to construct all your life near the station. It's more than normal, absolutely. And the people, frankly speaking, the salary in Russia, in the states near the power plants, is rather high. So people like to be involved in nuclear industry in our country. Not only in Russia as well, in many countries when we build power station.
And so I just want to also toss that to Sama because you have a global context.
Right. Well, we have definitely seen change in public perception, and of course that translates in how many people may be interested in a professional career in nuclear. So at a global level, we have seen much more acceptance, much more interest, much more support for nuclear energy in general, and that, as I said, translates in interest in nuclear careers. Also, I mean, I think there are two things that are new and different. So, for example, when we look at the younger generations, as they are looking at their future careers, many times, and perhaps I don't know that we were the same or not, but many times they are very, very motivated for a sense of purpose. Right? So you see that many of these younger generations, they are interested in careers where they feel that they can change the world. And we have seen a lot of interest in younger people in nuclear engineering or nuclear energy, not necessarily engineering, but other careers in nuclear, because of that sense of purpose, that sense of changing the world. And then the other thing that I will say is exactly in countries where the government, well, whether it's national government or regional or whatever, when they have a clear vision, a clear signal that nuclear energy is going to be a piece of the future, clearly that gives young people or actually any people a clear signal that, okay, well, there is an opportunity for me. I could actually get a very good, rewarding, well-paid, long-term job, and that really gives them a good signal. So we have really seen that change. But I think that what Yegor said is very important, not just with nuclear, with any professional career, there is always a lag, right? So when the signal appears, I mean, like for example, now in India, perhaps there are many young people that are considering a career in nuclear. Well, obviously it's going to take 3, 4, 5 years before all those young people are ready to hit the market. So this is why, as Yegor said, it is important to plan about these things and to think ahead of that. And then maybe say one more thing very important. Another thing that we cannot forget is there is many people that are very qualified in other sectors of the economy. So like, for example, in many countries in the world, we are seeing workers that are working in the fossil fuel industry, in coal, for example. We are seeing how coal power plants, coal mining, etc., are probably sectors of the economy that are winding down. I mean, in some parts faster than in others, but you know, they are winding down. So there are enormous opportunities to reskill, to retool these people to join other sectors of the energy industry, including nuclear, for example. Not just nuclear, but nuclear could be one of them.
Look at India, right? India has an enormous fuel coal sector.
Exactly.
It's in no ways being dismantled. It's increasing. But Niraj, do you see a potential for sequestering some of that talent, or do you have to? It does have to be plus alpha. You have to add folks in that industry and folks in nuclear as well.
We have a vision.
Yeah.
See, you have to understand 2, 3 things. In certain areas of nuclear, you need a deep expertise.
Yeah.
Expertise comes by education and by working on the field. So if you're need people for, let us say, reactor physics, reactor dynamics. So we are giving them 8 to 10 years by the time they are ready. If you see the full reactor, turbine island part of that, definitely we can get from the other industries, like other similar power plant industries, and we can retrain them to think like a nuclear engineer. But for the core nuclear thing, definitely we have to train the people. See, we can get people who are good in, let us say, mechanical. Now that nuclear culture has to come into that, actually, Nuclear culture is a different thought process. So we have to get the people, get them aligned to this thought process, and then we can give them the work, actually. So generally, at GSW, we are planning 5 years ahead. What we are thinking, our first construction will start 3 to 4 years from now. Already we started recruiting people, and already we are in touch with Department of Atomic Energy. We are telling them, you train them in your training school for 1 year, and then put them in your construction plants, your O&M plants, so they understand the dynamics of nuclear. Then they will come back to us. So already we are thinking a long-term basis. Like nuclear manpower need a lot of time to be trained. We cannot, let us say, pick up an engineer and say that tomorrow you work for nuclear. It has to be trained, a lot of hand-holding has to be done. You should understand the standards. You should understand the implication of a small mistake which you can make. And to be very quality conscious, very safe at each and every steps. So we are giving them minimum 3 to 5 years on the job training after the education. Then only we will say that you are fit for nuclear job. That is our understanding.
I see. Thank you. I see that we're out of time, but I don't often get Rosatom on the stage, so I'm going to ask one very, very quick question to Yegor here. You're starting up nuclear reactors, Russian-designed nuclear reactors in potentially Turkey, China, maybe more reactors in India this year. What's your global vision for Rosatom? Where are some strategic areas or countries that you're really targeting over the next decade or so?
Of course, we have some formal strategic vision, some numbers and so on, but it's not so interesting. Our non-number goal, try to find as much possible partners all around the world as we can. When I say partner, I mean the company who are interested, countries who are interested to build nuclear sector, nuclear industry in their country, and help them like a partners. I'm very happy to hear from Niraj that they don't want to transfer technology. They want to collaborate and establish something new, something local. So we are also open for it, and we are looking for such kind of partners and partner countries to organize the nuclear industry in each potential region, each potential countries, and help them to light their bright, new, green, stable, and so on future. So this is the same.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. I know we're over time. Please give a round of applause to our great guests here today. Thank you very much.